Okay. So
You got it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Hello, everyone. It's Katrina McHyde with another vlog post. This is a really special one. I'm with some people that are family, like family in Christ, but we're like more than family in Christ. It feels like, you know, we're like true family, like how the family in Christ should be. So we're having a great time. I'm with Chris and Willie here, and this is a vlog post on Tim McHyde's site. This is Katrina McHyde from escapeallthesethings.com if you want to come see us. But I'm so excited to share because we're here at their residence, and I'm going to introduce you. Actually, Chris is holding the phone, so for the first time I have both my hands free. I know, it's cool, huh? So I'm going to introduce you to them, and we're going to share something, just really a special thing. That their home here, they have this home that they've built together as a family. The family built it. It's been a couple generations of building on this house, and now it's up for sale. But we got to, before we knew it was going to be for sale, we got to put together an Airbnb section of an apartment, and we struggled and strived together. It was really awesome, and we'd love to tell you some stories about it, and it's nostalgic to share it with you, the spiritual lessons we got and just the connections we got and the struggles we had with it. And we want to show you the end product, and it was so exciting walking through it and helping clean it today that I went, oh, I should share it with you guys too, because I know you love to see what's going on. By the way, Tim's doing great. He's okay. Zachary's going to the center. Caleb's fine. We're all doing good. And I'm on travels, and I have a few days off of work. Love work, but I get to see family. Okay, so we're going to show you things, and I'm going to take over the phone and let Chris and Willie speak with you and show their baby off. And also, Willie speaks German, which is awesome. He speaks English as well, but his first language is German. So we're going to translate for him. For all of you who have taken German classes or actually speak German, this will be fun. So here we go. All right, now I'm taking the phone, and they're going to show. So here's Chris and Willie, my brother and sister. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Okay, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you
can
want to
say
start?
whatever.
Gehen wir erstmal weiter, raus ist kalt.
Okay,
We
Willie
go
says, let's
inside.
go inside, it's cold out
Let's
here.
do it. Yeah, it is. It's fall, isn't it?
So,
Yeah.
so we're entering the house. Yeah, and there's some lighting, we're gonna get some lighting, so I'll let Willie. Before we started the apartment, we renovated last year in the summer, in August. And Katrina and Caleb were here to help us. They were here for 3 weeks. And everything is still in its original form, but it's been completely remodeled. We did it vintage style in Germany. That's how they call chic and shabby. Kind of inspired through God, actually, but from my childhood memories of going to the beach cabins. You know, everything was kind of from the saltwater and, you know, just the run and tear from the salt and stuff, the sand, just kind of like run down. So we, that's how we decided to do everything. This used to have laminate on top of it. We ripped that off and just sanded down the wood and repainted with all natural colors, bio colors that are organic. We say bio in Germany. It's like organic so that there's no fumes and no toxins for people, because there's a lot of people with health issues and and allergies. Yeah.
Allergien. Yep.
Yeah. So this goes to the basement. We're entering the apartment now. It used to belong to Willie's mom, and so we completely ripped out all the doors. There were old doors here, and we put in new doors. And new flooring, new cables, all the electrical work was really redone. But we took all of her old furniture, and Katrina and my daughter and myself, we completely restored it and painted it, and really had a lot of fun with it. And this is the first room. Here to the left is, just some storage. It used to be the pantry, basically, or the cupboard, a big cupboard for my mother-in-law. And so we've just got all the linens and things like that in there, cleaning supplies and stuff. So just to keep everything, kind of tidy, and it's not all laying around in the apartment. So, and we have key.
Oh yeah, the key's cool.
The key to heaven.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. Okay, now let's get it in the light so that we can see it better.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So
That's
maybe
key,
you
but
can
look
see-
at this key. This is like an old style key. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Isn't that cool? Key
Yeah.
to heaven, and it looks like an old style key. That's really cool.
Yeah. So we kind of, like I said, we were God inspired. I was God inspired to decorate this place. So that's how we went on. So I thought we'd just start with the room one.
Room number one,
If you
numero
have
uno.
my husband he did all of the hard work. Him
Yeah.
and Caleb, really did a lot of the hard work. So
So they get to share. He gets to share about it. So he can talk about it, and Chris will translate.
yeah,
Okay, angefangen beim Boden.
we started with the floor.
Teppichboden war verklebt, also das heißt, du kannst richtig mit Spachtel und schwerem Gerät rangehen, um überhaupt mal erst den Teppichboden rauszureißen. Dann die ganzen Holzböden abzuschleifen, um den neuen Boden aufzulegen. Dann musst du natürlich auch alles neu verputzen, neu streichen, die Wände, die neuen Kabel verlegt. Was unsere größte Angst war am Anfang, neue Kabel, das heißt aber noch die alten Kabel aus den Nachkriegszeiten, die alle noch stoffummantelt waren, also die sind überhaupt nicht mehr zulässig und dementsprechend auch brandgefährlich. Deswegen mussten die auch alle ausgetauscht werden. Die
I think
Möbel.
translate.
Ja, okay.
So sorry.
Kannst du das alles merken?
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing we did was the flooring. We took there was old carpet in here. It was a really old green color, and it was really thin, and it was completely glued to old wood floors, hardwood floors. So we had to rip those up. With I don't know, we used everything we could that we had on tools to get rid of it and like scrub it off and get rid of it. And then we had to sand the flooring down, the boards down so that they would be even, so that we could put the new flooring in. And then we had to the walls. We had to take the wallpaper off of the walls
And the plaster, right? Like
and
she's
there's some of the plaster came off of the wall, so we had to use some stucco putty, just to get that back, back on the same surface so that you could actually have flat walls to repaint, and put the things on there as we needed. And as we were preparing and getting everything done, and we ripped all the doors off, then we started to notice that the electrical wiring had cloth wrapped on it, which is now used to. That's how they did everything. It was cloth fabric, almost like a fabric on the wiring. And since then, this house was built in 1957 or 56, and so at that time it was not a fire hazard. But since then it's become a fire hazard. So all those kind of wirings, they always have to be redone. So we had a big mess anyways, and then we had to take out all the wiring completely in the whole house and redo it, in this whole apartment or part of the house. So
even a bigger mess. So
yeah.
Just because you see a problem or you have something that you want to update, you find out underneath that there's more work to do.
Yeah.
There's a spiritual lesson in that one.
That's right. Exactly. So it took a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of muscle power, a lot of manpower. That's what Willie and Caleb were doing. So we also
they worked really, really hard. Really hard.
Yeah, and we had to even the windows had to be sanded down, the walls had to be sanded down. You have to understand, when you have uneven flat space on your wall, then that all has to be sanded down so that it's all even, so that you can paint and have not have these huge craters in the wall. The heating elements on the wall, we had to clean those out with water and wash them out because they were full of dirt and cobwebs. I mean, my mother-in-law was very old and couldn't see very well, and so we had to clean all that stuff out. And like I said before, the furniture was completely remodeled. Katrina and I and my daughter, we painted, we mixed the colors together. Yeah.
And this is the inspiration. These colors are the inspiration that Chris felt in putting it together. So all these colors, the way that's put together, the different tones together, and the beach look was all inspired.
And the pictures were actually
Yeah.
just, I wanted some pictures for the walls, just something inexpensive. And I had a calendar of the most beautiful beaches in the world, and that's gonna follow into our calling that the Lord has for us later. I just took those pictures from that calendar and put them up on the wall, so they're all over in the apartment to see. And they were also inspired, and the colors match in the rooms too. It's amazing how God put it all together. I mean, it couldn't have been me. It was just so amazing. So then we have the hallway. Actually, was the hardest part with the cement. Jetzt kannst du mal erzählen.
Ja, in den alten Häusern wurde da noch nicht so viel Wert darauf gelegt, ebene Böden zu haben, sondern es wurde einfach verwendet oder angewandt, was der Geldbeutel hergegeben hat. Das heißt, im Flur waren alte Fliesen gelegen, die 3 cm stark waren, und die anderen Böden waren quasi 2,5 cm tiefer, da sie auch nur aufgeklebt waren. Das heißt, wir haben das Ganze mit der guten alten Hilde rausgehämmert. Das waren allein schon 2 Tage Arbeit, um allein die Fliesen rauszubekommen, und dementsprechend hat dann der Untergrund ausgeschaut. Das heißt, wir haben dann wiederum einen Fließestrich, einen Glattstrich machen müssen, um die ganze Wohnung auf eine Ebene ausgeglichen zu bekommen. So, und dementsprechend ist auch dann der kunterbunte Boden reingekommen. So,
Yeah. A long time ago, whenever the people were building their homes, especially Willie's family, they're very, very frugal. I mean, very frugal with their money. So they didn't really place a lot of value on trying to make sure that the flooring was all the same height and weight and whatever. So they just used whatever they had. So there was huge tile platelets that were in here in the middle of the floor. And you have to understand they were about 3 inches, not 3 inches, 3 centimeters, which is about an inch and a half to 2 inches thick, huge cement tile that was laid here. And on top of that, there was linoleum. And that's what, Caleb and Willie did some of it, but Caleb did most of it actually, pulling that linoleum off of the cement flooring, because that, in Germany, they recycle everything. Everything has to be taken apart and put into different trash areas. It's not like in the States where you just put it on the side of the road and somebody comes picks it up. You really have to have certain bins, and you have to pay for it too. It's not for free. So it took us a lot of work, and it's just this one portion. But the flooring was then, naturally that much higher than the other floors in the rooms. So,
and it was miserably hot. Remember, it was so hot out there trying to pull things apart.
Yeah, and
then it was raining on top of hot.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
So a lot of the work feels like it's gonna go on forever. Number one, and number two, it feels like you're doing the no glory job.
Right.
Like you're pulling this stuff apart, the stuff that's supposed to be ripped out, and it feels like you're getting nowhere. Except
you actually think you want to just I want to just toss it all in the garbage can, or bury it in the garden or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
we ended up burying some stuff in the garden, but it's not porcelain, bricks and things like that are good for the earth. Nothing on there, so just got rid of that stuff. But that's hilarious. That was hilarious in itself, because we were digging up the garden at the same time. So yeah. So now then we found this this is laminate here. This flooring is laminate. It's not wood, even though it does look like it's wood. And this was on sale, and we were walking through this. It's like a Sutherland's store. And they had this flooring on sale, and I said, let's get that flooring. And of course, Willie thought it was hilarious, and we were like, oh, well, okay, sure, so we did, and this has been the most amazing thing. This floor has just really impressed so many people. They just
beautiful.
Come in here and say, this is so beautiful, I want this. Oh my gosh, that's great. How'd you do that wood like that? And we're like, no, it's laminate. Thank you, God, that there's laminate. So that was that, and to get all that straightened out. You know, they didn't have, like I said, they didn't have much money, so they just used what they could, and that's how we came up with this. And yeah, so the next room
Nächster Raum ist das Bad. Das war so ein typisches Bad aus den 60er Jahren. Da war hinten quer früher an der Wand noch die Badewanne gestanden. Und ein alter Holzkochelofen hat den Wasserkessel beheizt. Das wurde dann alles rausgerissen, komplett letztes Jahr oder vorletztes Jahr schon, das hat man schon ein Jahr vorher gemacht. Und ich habe dann die Mauer gezogen, habe den Boden ausgeglichen und habe dann das Ganze altersgerecht bzw. behindertengerecht gebaut, dass man auch jederzeit mit Rollstuhl oder mit einem Walker reinlaufen kann und hier behindertengerecht oder altersgerecht sich auch in der Nasszelle bewegen zu können.
This bathroom obviously never looked like this. A long time ago, it's another tile, and that's actually underneath this tile in some areas. And whenever Willie was a small child, they would heat the bathroom with a wood burning stove.
Wow, that's
so you could imagine there wasn't much room where Katrina is actually standing now, which is adjacent from us where she showed you first. There was a bathtub there, and the water would be heated through like a boiler, like a water boiler, a water heater that was generated. The water would be heated up from that fire. So it was, in fact, his brother even burned his booty on there one time. So I mean, so you can imagine, as a small child, that's very, hard to
traumatizing.
Yeah, very traumatizing. So I never saw that. I seen a couple pictures, but I didn't see that portion of it. But before Willie completely remodeled this bathroom, he actually remodeled it 2 years ago, before his mom passed away. Not knowing what was coming, but what happened was that the canal systems were so old and porous that, and there was a really old toilet here, and so we had to completely reconstruct and reroute everything, and even tear up our floor so that everything could be redone and modernized with plastic, with hard PVC plastic
piping.
Yeah, piping and stuff. So it was a really difficult thing, and Willie did the wall. He did all of this work with the tile and the wall itself. It's called I don't know if it's called drywalling in the States. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but it's just it's almost like
plastering.
Paint. It's plastering. Yeah, it's like
plastering.
paint, but you have to put it on, and so we did that, and we did that mainly for because his mom was 80 at that time. She was 81, and people don't get younger; they get older, and she was having trouble getting in and out of the bathtub, which she was shorter than me, so you can imagine that bathtub being kind of tall. So he redid everything and made it for disabled,
wheelchair accessible,
and wheelchair accessible.
Yeah.
And a year later, actually, she got diagnosed with cancer, and she ended up having a walker. So it was a blessing. I mean, we just can have so many testimony about this apartment and this house. I mean, just knowing that God's with us all the time and preparing us, even when we have no idea what's coming. So.
Yeah. So a major project comes and you don't know why you have to do it, and you kind of do it with attitude, but you find out later that it was a necessary blessing for what was coming.
And the thing is that the for the sink and this board here for above the sink and the mirror, actually, I received that as that somebody gave that to me that was a customer of mine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we didn't even
nice
know
gift.
we got tile that's also been used in many portions of this house, including the basement.
Wow.
That was enough to cover. We've tiled 3 rooms with it, and part of the basement downstairs.
What a blessing!
I got it for €35, and that's only $25.
It's amazing.
So
blessing.
it was great.
Wow.
It was amazing. Yeah. So this is the next.
The next ist eigentlich noch der Flur hier. Was mich eigentlich an der ganzen Sache immer so fasziniert hat, waren die Farbgebungen, mit der die Chris gekommen ist. Vor allem, weil das wirklich teils ganz alte Möbel waren oder ich sag mal zu damaliger Zeit aus den 70ern diese typisch hässlichen Holzmöbel und durch die Farbgebung, ob jetzt hier im Flur oder auch die beiden Schlafräume, hat das Ganze ein richtig tolles Gesicht bekommen.
Yeah. Willie wanted to add on to the hallway that we started on before and move a little bit further in, talking about the furniture here in the hallway that it's from compressed wood. It's actually cheap stuff that his mom had. I mean, she didn't lay much value on expensive things. Of course, she never had that opportunity. They had their family had lots of land. They were had lots of land and wealth, and they had vineyards and things like that. But they weren't the kind of people to flaunt it or anything. I mean, his mom never learned how to drive, or she always rode her bike everywhere. And she had a lot of. She was working out in the gardens here, and so she lived a very humble and poor, like a poor life, really. Mm-hmm. So she never living outside of her means, and didn't get that much retirement after her husband died. So she just bought the cheapest things that she could.
Land rich, but everything else poor.
Yeah, and she had 40, and she did that 40 long years alone. Taking care of her own self and taking care of the house and everything else. So Willie was so excited about my idea to restore everything that was hers. It's a part of her staying here alive in this house, mm-hmm. and using the colors that God was inspiring me to use, mm-hmm. to make it into something that's ours together, and just blessing it with some new look, a new touch.
It's honoring her and updating to bless other people with what she left behind.
That's right.
That's beautiful.
But not make it in our own thing mm-hmm. as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. So. Yeah, then we have the next bedroom, which is actually used to be the living room. So I'll let Willie tell you more about that.
This is cool. You can see the little numbers. So that was number 1 room that we saw, and this is number 2. And
Katrina actually painted on the doors.
Yeah.
It was so good. I put an anchor in it.
She told me I had to.
Yeah,
she forced me to.
I did. It's not free will at my house. It's do what I do.
Do what she says. That's right. True sister, like I said.
Ja, hier hatten wir anfangs auch das Problem, wo wir die Wohnung zuerst vermietet hatten, dass leicht Feuchtigkeit entsteht, wenn nicht gelüftet wird in diesen älteren Baujahren. Das heißt, wir haben total schnelle Feuchtigkeit im Haus, sobald nicht richtig gelüftet wird, und dementsprechend dann auch an den Wänden Schimmel oder sonstiges gehabt. Aber das war dann ruckzuck geklärt und wir wussten damit umzugehen, das Ganze zu bereinigen. Was hier in dem Raum mich am meisten gequält oder anfangs Angst gemacht hat, waren eigentlich die neuen Stromleitungen, weil ja in den Häusern früher vielleicht eine, Maximum 2 Steckdosen im Raum waren. Also hier hatten wir 2, 4, 6, 8 neue Leitungen gelegt, plus Antennenleitungen. Und die habe ich dann alle selber verputzen dürfen. Also als gelernter Schlosser ist es dann doch Herausforderung, aber es hat gut funktioniert.
So this room has a little bit of old story to it. One of the things that was a problem many years ago when we've completely drywalled the whole house, Willie dug it up. I'm adding to this, he didn't say this, but I wanted to add that the whole house was dug up many years ago, like 2008 I think is when we did it, around the house, 6 feet deep. He did it with a bulldozer, getting everything out in a backhoe, and then the whole family just pitched in together, and we just help. You have to put bitumen and paint on the walls, the bitumen, and then get it all aired out. You have to leave it open for several months, and make sure that, because there was a lot of moisture, there was a lot of mold in the basement because of the moisture, and that's how most of the old houses were here. And so it was time to drywall everything and get everything cleaned and get the moisture out. But there was still some remnants in the apartment in the corners from when his mom lived here. because she didn't want to renovate anything. So there were still some mold places on the walls, and I think Katrina can very well remember us getting in here with gloves and masks and using the hydrogen peroxide and the bleach and stuff to get rid of that, really scrubbing the walls, to get everything off to make sure that it's all okay. And we even had some problems with it in the wintertime last year, because what happens is we put everything in here, set everything up, and put the furniture in, and we pushed it completely against the wall. And then we had we set up, the first people that were renting were a group of people who were workers, and they were gone in the cold all day long. So of course they want to come in here, and they had the heater on full blast. Then there were 6 men, they were showering, so we got some moisture in the house, and it started to mold again. But I realized what we were doing wrong, so we pulled the furniture away from the wall, the outer walls, and I scrubbed everything down again. We left it open for a couple of days, let it air out and get everything, made sure that the mold didn't come back and everything was fine. And then we decided, okay, now we know we can't push the furniture up against the walls. There has to be enough room to air out. And we decided to just only allow 4 people in the apartment, 2 in each room. That's fine. That's enough. And we won't put any more pallets on the flooring, and just leave the way it is, and make sure that it's always getting air. Like there's not, because that when people come in, they turn the heater up really high. Then the moisture from the shower, they leave the bathroom doors open, the shower, and the moisture stays in the room, and then it builds up mold around the windows and stuff.
So the best laid plans, sometimes you find out later you have to upgrade even as you're going along.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's a hassle, and it's because you think, oh, when will I ever be finished? And that was one of the things my husband always was saying. It's a never-ending story. Really.
Yes, it was really tough because we would fix one thing and then we'd find something else that had to be done.
That's right.
And then we also had some people, we needed the electrician to come in, and they would change their plans, and that would stop part of the progress on some things, and we'd have to transfer to other things. And learning how to stay in patience, and it was a great practice on learning how to stay, in patience with one another, in grace. And realize that we're all going to be frustrated, and learn how to kind of have our little fits at times, but hold each other and work through, coming back together and supporting one another, because we were just all tired or whatever.
That's right.
But I think we did amazing going through it. Probably the most healthiest I've ever seen regular blood family go through. But even more so, when Father puts you together, you think, well, you're not my blood, so you can
That's
be
right.
even. But in truth, really, we all came together and just sort of kind of worked it out while we were doing it. So it was a blessing on not only just putting it together and having all those different things, but I think for me personally, it was healing.
That's right.
To go through it and see it could be done differently.
For me, it was too.
We could all do it differently.
Well, you think you have a
struggle together differently.
Exactly, and you start with a different mentality. You're usually you're thinking, well, I don't have anything to lose. I don't have to be nice to them. They're not family. But that's just the opposite that you think. You're actually you really love this person generally because they really respect you as a person. They treat you better than your own family a lots of times. Yeah. So you really don't, you really are thankful and grateful that God's.
But you're also scared because that when you're under pressure,
you're vulnerable.
When you're under stress, the true part that's still hurt, it comes up.
That's right.
And you don't have control over that. It still needs to develop, and that area needs to be held and loved, and it hasn't ever been held and loved before. So it becomes really scary because I don't want to hurt the relationship, but I can't control myself, and you go through all those.
Oh yeah, we did. There were some heated points or times. I know. I mean, for all of us, it was really amazing. But I wanted to add, because you said something about the electrician, that Willie also mentioned, and when he was saying it, was the hardest thing for him. That was very trying for his patience and his abilities. Was that this room didn't have very many electrical sockets in it. Uh-huh. So they all had to be, when the rewiring started, there was just this one, and these were all put in, and this was put in, and it also has an antenna line in the back for the TV, which antenna here for the top of the house and for your satellite. And wherever you see these outlets, you know, those were all you have to chip them away with a chisel and hammer. You have to make the whole line. It goes all the way down. Wherever you see a socket, there has a T going straight down, and it goes down around. So Willie had to do all that, and then he had to put stucco putty and do everything, put it back. And so he says, you know what, I'm a welder, so you can imagine that that's not really the job that I wanted to do. So
Major
everybody
surgery.
has one job that they really do not want to do.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest thing actually from this whole thing that Willie still hates to this day are the blinds.
The blinds.
Because
Really?
because they're not the original blinds that were in the house. The original blinds are all metal. All wood.
These are really beautiful, actually, the way that they...
Not these blinds. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
these blinds. Because you have to.
This is typical, by the way, in a German home to have these blinds for weather and also for sun. So these are very normal. You see them in most houses. Yeah.
But it's really difficult sometimes because they're not the original ones, right? Like I said, and you have to. If you looked outside the house, you would see that Willie had to like chisel away some of the mortar and the wall and everything to get the new element in, because it's just a big metal box that has this ruler in it, and then there's like certain weights that you have to use, and so this is less expensive. Some of these were new from his mom when his mom took the money, and I told you, she doesn't lay much value on the expensive stuff. And the other things were, of course, what we could afford. So it was the same thing in green. And Willie's like, it's hard,
Makes it
It's
hard.
like I said, the whole family's always done everything
Yeah.
here. So
And I got to work on the ceiling, and the thing is when you're putting something together and you're doing the best to make it perfect, we all kind of have this gene in us, it must run in the family, even if it's not bloodline, of wanting things perfect and wanting it a certain way. So learning how to have the space of it not being perfect was really hard. Mm-hmm. It pushed on all of us, I think. And we did everything with our very best.
Yeah.
Every single one of us did our very best. And you know what? Sometimes we thought that the very best in each of us wasn't good enough.
yeah, that's true. That is very true.
I mean, we had to repaint these things. Like this thing we had to repaint a few times because we would see like strokes that were wrong, or we got
The
dry
color wasn't
paint.
dark enough?
Some of the dry paint speckles fell into the paint.
That's
and
right.
then we had these
We had to
little
pick
specks
them
that we
off.
had to pick off and then repaint it again.
In fact, in the other the two cabinets in the other room, they're like two different color gray because I had to mix the colors every time. So every time I would mix the colors, and so we'd come out. So if you really put them up close together, you'd probably be able to see that maybe this is a darker yellow than this on here.
Yeah.
And it's really crazy.
But it
how
looks
works.
perfect. It
does.
looks like it's supposed
It
to
was
look.
planned. It was,
Yeah.
like I said, it's God's plan. It was what He wanted, and so it came out just exactly the way He wanted it to. So the next room is the kitchen.
Ja, die nächste Herausforderung, wir hatten für die Küche, also angefangen beim Boden genauso, alles komplett rausreißen müssen. Die Wände, Steckdosen, alles neu legen, ganz klar. Dann ist aber die nächste große Herausforderung gekommen, die mich als Möbelschreiner gefordert hat. Das heißt, wir hatten lauter Einzelteile, was man sieht, wenn die Katrina komplett rumfährt. Wir hatten lauter Einzelteile, die zu einer Küche zusammengestellt werden mussten, sollten. Und im Nachhinein muss ich sagen, ich glaube, es ist gut gelungen. Die Eckbank, die sie jetzt gerade gehabt hat, das ist auch wiederum noch die von meiner Mutter gewesen, die auch komplett renoviert, also das heißt gestrichen und neu bezogen wurde. Wie gesagt, die anderen Teile sind alles Einzelteile gewesen, die wir dann Stück für Stück zusammengesetzt haben, mit Arbeitsflächen neu belegt und auch die Wände, normalerweise macht man oder hat man früher Fliesenspiegel gemacht, heute macht man eben die gleiche Holzplatte in der gleichen Holzfarbe, im gleichen Holzton auch an die Wand, die dann auch abwaschbar ist, was alles einen riesengroßen, einfachen Vorteil hat, ja.
Yeah, with the kitchen is not any different. In fact, there was actually more work than in most of the other rooms because we had to rip everything out, old kitchen. The cabinets were falling apart for years. I think they were probably 25, 30 years old or so.
Über 40.
Okay, 40 years old.
Mhm.
I'm corrected. And they were really dark. So this room was really dark a long time ago, and there was only one small lamp here in the center, and one in the corner from my mother-in-law. So you could, I mean, it's dark in here now, and you don't even have, and you have lots of light, and you know the windows are open, and my mother-in-law had curtains around here, so. Could imagine. And the kitchen, well, the oven was from her kitchen originally. The sink is from our old kitchen actually, and the faucet is from her kitchen. It's really amazing how it just came together. There are very few new things in this room. Like this is new. She never had a Venda hood before. And the kitchen itself was given to us by what I call my adopted German family, the family that Dominique and I lived with. Dominique is my daughter. Whenever we first moved to Germany in '94, and their son had this kitchen in his old apartment as a single man, and had gotten married and was and now they renovated shortly before we finished or we started here. So we were given this kitchen, and the thing about the kitchen is that you may notice that they're different colors. Where you see the cabinets are the same colors, those are actually originally pieces of the kitchen. It was a small kitchen. It was made for a like an attic type apartment. So they had like slanted ceilings, things like that. So there was only just one small area, and the green ones are actually, this was made from a friend of ours who's a furniture maker. He made that for us to be able to put the refrigerator in it, because the refrigerator actually would normally be down here at this level, and we didn't want it at floor level, we wanted it up high. And this was actually a cabinet set that had a similar color to this, but it was just a little bit different, and then of course these knobs were on here already. So we decided to paint it green and then put a complete new work element on that matches all the way around, and we would make the back of this to be as tile so that you could wash it off, but we wanted something more modern, and so we used the wood panels for that as well.
Das hat der Junior gesagt, das habe alles ich gemacht.
Okay, sorry, I take that back. Our friend, the carpenter, he actually he sawed everything to par, and my husband put it together. I'm sorry, I made that mistake. Yeah, so again, we have his expertise as a welder. Actually, you're showing him the many blessings of God. We're showing you the many blessings of God that he has been bestowed upon, that he can do. And I mean, he's just a miracle worker.
So it's like you may not have enough money to do the project, but you go in faith to do the project.
Right.
And Father shows up as you go along and do the project.
That's right.
But it's frustrating and scary because it's like you're in the middle of something and you don't know if you'll ever finish because you may not have enough money or enough experience.
We didn't even know we were going to be able to start because we didn't have the money. We had friends that just love us so much that came through, and that was just a blessing. We never asked. We were telling them our story. We were telling where we were at. We were in limbo, kind of like we are right now. We were just waiting. We knew that the money was going to be released, even though it wasn't that much. But we knew we were going to have. You were waiting on the bank to decide to give us the money, the loan to do the apartment, and it was taking forever, and we couldn't understand why. And so we were telling our friends, and our friends like, "Hey, you know what? We just want you to get out of this rut you're in, and we want to help you." And they were so wonderful, and they're just like, "We're going to give you the money, and you don't even have to pay it back." And we were just, I mean, of course, so
thankful and grateful, and we were so happy. And of course,
I bet that doesn't happen every day, does it?
I don't remember it ever happening before that. I mean, not when I didn't ask somebody. I've asked somebody to help me out of debt. That was a family member, and that worked. That was with my ex-husband. It was a long, long time ago when I was pregnant with my daughter, but I tell you, it's very hard to ask people for money. It's even harder to like.
And you didn't even
God.
ask.
And I didn't even ask. I just was like praying, God, let us know, give us some kind of a sign.
Yeah.
And here they are. They just decided they want to do this, And we told them what our plans were, so they knew we weren't going to be frivolous and just go out and like spend,
Party.
Have lots of fun and just we're going to buy the most expensive things. In fact, we let them know, or we were showing them what we were purchasing, so that they would know where the money was going, so that they felt comfortable, supporting us, even though they didn't want to know. And but this here, this was the old table, the old breakfast nook from my mother-in-law, and
this is the old style, German style.
Yeah.
This is normal, and this actually pulls out here to extend the table for both sides to make it even bigger for people. Yeah, we won't pull it out, but you get the idea. So this is the old style tables that are normal, typical here, except they don't look as modern as this.
And Katrina can tell you stories about how many hours she sat there with my daughter pulling all the staples out and the nails and everything out of the old upholstery.
Old fabric and old foam that was just super disgusting.
Yeah, kind of stinky.
Yeah, it was awful. And then of course painting everything, and white, if you don't paint white right, it's like it seems like one of the hardest colors,
and it's not even white, it's just off-white with gray in it, just a tint of gray. But
it just feels like, and we had it like perfect. I was sharing with her when we were cleaning the apartment, because it's an Airbnb, how we had like worked to make sure everything was perfect. Like there wasn't anything like this there. It was all white and perfect. And you can see the wear on it. But actually, it was joyous to come in and see that it was worn, because people actually felt comfortable and was here, and this is a natural wearing, and it actually really goes with the whole theme of the place anyway. So in the end, it just brings joy that even though our hearts were perfect to want to give people a perfect experience here, that it didn't stay perfect. And it's perfect that it didn't stay perfect.
Yeah, and that's amazing that you say that, because I learned how to keep up apartments and rooms and stuff because I worked at a guest house, and so it was kind of like the maid. I was the maid. I was the room service girl. When I say room service, that was me. And so I wanted everything to be really perfect, and I was still this way for a really long time, and I would feel guilty about if for instance we had a thunderstorm in August, and our house got hit by lightning and one of the TVs was fried. So up until just this week, just this past week, I think on Thursday it came, last Thursday, that one TV, we only had one TV in the apartment. So I was always concerned and feel the guilty, oh no, there's only one TV, And I was thinking, oh my gosh, they're paying for 2 rooms and only have one TV, and I don't have a living room in here. We opted against the living room. So I was always feeling guilty. And God was so good. He sent me people who were foreign and wouldn't know and couldn't watch the TV anyways because it's all in German. So, and the one time that we did have Germans staying here, the 2 men that were staying here, they said, I don't need a TV. We don't even watch TV. I was like, oh God, thank you. I was just so excited. But I was just always feeling guilty if it's not just right, if I'd forgotten something, or maybe I forgot to do something in the apartment, or last Sunday we went to church because we thought we would have enough time, because every other Sunday we've had a couple hours, so we thought, oh yeah, we'll just chance it, and we leave, and then the guests show up and they're standing outside the door going, we want to check in and you're not here, so I felt guilty about that again, and it was just, and it was not even necessary. It was just amazing how wonderful they are, and we get so many positive feedback.
So like you get guilt on things that you didn't have to be guilty on, but you still feel the guilt. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to show you this place, is because there's so many spiritual lessons. This is really our heart. here that we put into this place together, and when we were working together on it, right? And so this is really a special thing for us to share with you, and you have your own struggles in your own lives. But the thing that came up today as well, Chris was sharing something because we were planning out the day together, and she was sharing something that came up for her that I thought, this is such a great thing to encourage people with, the idea of guilt. So I wanted her to share the what happened and how she was able to work with these type of situations. And the situations I'm talking about that is very difficult is where you feel like it's a catch-22. Mm-hmm. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. You're guilty either way. There's no clear answer on how to not be guilty.
Right.
Not only the enemy likes to put us in that position to where it doesn't matter, we're always going to be guilty and never be good enough. And I don't believe God wants that for us, but even Satan doesn't have to do that to us. We do that to ourselves because our families...
But he takes all the credit.
Society, yeah. Our families and society teach us that we better feel guilty because that's humble.
That's right.
Right?
But guilt is not humble. That's right.
Guilt is not humble.
Mm-hmm.
Guilt is making you bigger than God's sacrifice of your son.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I wanted to have her share her testimony and what she did to get out of that corner. That she had the damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, thank you. I guess since my childhood, I've always wanted to please everybody. I think many of us go through that. We just always want to please everybody. We don't want to see anybody hurt. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Even when we've hurt someone's feelings, we have that tug at our heart where we go, oh, that was bad. And so I am always trying to do the best I can to please everyone. And right now we're in a kind of temperamental state where Willie and I have been called on missions to go around the world, or at least we feel led anyways in that direction, and it's led up to this, and we feel that God has really ordained everything that we're doing. We're, like Katrina said in the very beginning, we're in the process of selling our home. We haven't found a buyer. We've gotten a few people to come in and look, and some of them really like the place. Some of them said they think it's too expensive. Some people say that they don't want to have to invest as much, or they don't want to, I don't know. There's just been some different things, and it's just really been a really slow process. And it's really a blessed place, and we've had so many wonderful things that people have said about it. But we're financially at a still standpoint where we just, we can't afford anything else. We can't afford to invest any money, and we just feel like God's just he's just turned off the faucet. He's like, I'm not going to let you put any more money in this place. You've done your blood, sweat, and tears, and your pennies. So, I'm going to, don't worry, I'm going to come through for you. Mm-hmm. It's going to work out. And you just have to be patient and have faith. And truly, it's been a very hard lesson. It's been a very hard lesson for my husband and I, because we really want to go, and we realized that God wanted us to just basically my husband's long dream his whole life is to travel the world, and we're going to be able to do it doing God's work. So we're just so excited. We've got a caravan sitting out on the back lot waiting for us to be ready to be sent out into the world.
That's their new home. They're downsizing,
We're going from very
really
huge to very small, and but with luxuries that we didn't have before.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a central air and heat system.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Yeah. I mean, it only takes you 4 steps from one side of the trailer to the other one. It's okay.
Plenty of space to strut, if you.
That's right. We've got a shower and a toilet and a sink, and we can cook on a gas stove, which is my husband's dream. He's always wanted a gas stove, and he loves to cook, and. So we've done all these things, and so now we're just in the waiting process, and we're waiting for that perfect buyer that God's going to send us, and it's going to be somebody that's going to just be so blessed and want to just love this house.
So it's really hard when that Father's calling you to do something, and you're going towards that, and you're doing it as fast as you can, and you think maybe you're doing something wrong.
That's right.
Because it's not going as fast as you thought it was supposed to, and you think, okay, well, did I not hear right?
That's right. You second guess everything. You start to become double-minded.
Yeah.
Because you're going, but wait a minute, the scripture says this, and if I have faith, and why would you show me these things? And he showed me visions, and he showed me dreams. But very often we think,
very often we hear something, it's God, and sometimes it's not God. Sometimes it's Satan, and he's trying to trick you up. So
or ourselves,
our own
our
thoughts
guilt.
and dreams that we would like, or
Back
our
to guilt.
That's right.
right? So tell them about the, like with all of that, just like in the simple story of your cute little feet.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got flat feet, and I get lots of calluses, and so it's kind of a if I go a long time and I haven't done anything, then they start to they're very painful. These corns, like not corns, but
calluses.
Yeah, they're calluses, but they're really thick.
Yeah.
And so I always go every 4 to 5 weeks, and I usually have like during the summertime I have like a French manicure done, and it's not that expensive. But like I said, we don't have a lot of money right now, so we're really watching what we're spending. We're not spending frivolously.
Having to live by faith, like
having to live by
what
faith.
am I supposed to buy?
That's it.
And at the end of the month, have just enough that Father has provided, but it comes in through miracles.
That's right.
And kind of
make sure he's controlling everything. My husband has this very small retirement, very very small, and everything else we're living off of from this apartment. So these are getting booked as he plans it. So my first thing was I'm going to have to cancel the my podiatrist appointment to get my pedicure done, and I feel so guilty because every time I want to tell this lady, I've got to cancel. I've been going to her for years, so when I have to cancel or when I forgot an appointment, then she says, well, I can't get anybody that soon, so like Katrina says, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So if I call her and I'm very honest with her, say, look, I'm sorry, I just don't have the money right now and I can't come, I can't make the appointment. Can we make it another date? Then I feel guilty for canceling on her. I feel like a schmuck or shmoo because I can't, I didn't save up the money even though I knew I was going to have the appointment. And I could have told her already last week when I thought of it, but I forgot. So
she wasn't perfect enough. She forgot.
Yeah, I did. I forgot.
I know she's the only one that does that, right?
So I was concerned, and I just actually prayed for God last night. Please just let something come up for her where she has to cancel on me. Oh, that didn't happen. God lets us learn, how to.
So he didn't let her push her guilt situation out.
That's right.
He left it there for her to still face the next day.
That's
today.
Right. So I did. I called her and I said, sorry, I've got, my friend is here and she drove 3 hours to be here with us, and we have some things in the house to do and we have to get some things ready, and she's going to help us do that. And I can't make the appointment. And I didn't say why, that, the rest of it, that I didn't have the money or anything. I just thought it's not important. It's going to be bad enough that I'm canceling for her anyways. And I said, we'll have to make another appointment. And I knew that the next month is the first of the month. And I said, but I don't want to do the French manicure, just want to get my feet done, because I felt like the Lord had allowed me at least that, because it's for my health, it's good for me. So we did that, and she's like, and I said, well, I really hope that you can fill that time with somebody else. Well, she naturally said, well, I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, that would take a lot of luck. I mean, Germans are big about luck. So I just changed that saying that she said about luck. I just changed it as like blessings. I immediately translated to blessings and said, well, blessings, I said, luck happens all the time. And I was saying blessings happen all the time. And she said, that's right. And so she agreed with me, even though it wasn't what I said, it was what I was thinking. And I just felt comfortable with it. And when I hung up, I was happy and I didn't feel guilty anymore.
Okay, so how did you get rid of the guilt? I mean, with all of that, because it looked like that if you went, you would feel guilty about spending the money, that you felt like maybe, things have shifted and maybe you shouldn't spend it there. And if you canceled, then you're not following through on your commitment. So like, what did you use? What tools did you use to figure out your way out of that awful corner that we all end up in?
Well, we spent a couple hours actually in prayer, and we're praying about different things. And as that couple hours of prayer was going on, I felt the Lord say, the money for the feet, to get your feet in a healthy state is good, the French manicure is just a luxury, and it's cold outside. It's not necessary. So I'll allow you for that. And so I thought it was for today, but it went on so long that I was just like, okay, I don't think it's going to work, because it was already getting close to noon, or it was afternoon actually. And I just didn't feel comfortable anymore. And I just felt like the Lord was telling me, not today. We have other things. We have God's business here. And that's where I was trying to stay focused. And I asked him earlier before that when we were praying, I said, just Lord, I'm your daughter. I'm here to do your work. And so please show me. And that's what it made me feel really good and really confident. Actually, I still didn't want to disappoint her, but I just thought, you know what? We all get disappointed. How many times do we have to tell our children that, they can't have something, although we'd really love to give it to them? I mean, I feel that way all the time, right? I always want to do something for people. I always want to give, and I don't have anything to give. So, sometimes there's a time,
to give and a time to receive.
That's right. And a time to really just hear what God has for you, and just to stay with that. And I'd rather please God than to please a human, a person. So if they feel uncomfortable, I just know that God's going to give her what she needs, and so I was just trusting in that.
Faith.
That's right.
Faith for somebody else.
That's right.
So you're not the answer.
No, I prayed for her immediately. I prayed immediately for her and said, God, just she's uncomfortable. I told her, whenever when we get ready to leave and go south, and I want that French manicure and it's still cold, I'll have you come to my home. And of course she says, well, you have to pay me for that. And of course I would do that, So I said, and of course I got off and I said, okay, Lord, it's all about money. And she's really concerned about receiving what it is that she needs, and making sure that she has enough to live the life that she's living. So I said, bless her abundantly, and just give her whatever she needs. And that appointment that I would have had today would have been enough for 2 people. So I was just thinking, send her 2 clients. Let a couple come in.
That's great.
So it was really cool.
Well, so the point is that when you find yourself in a corner where everything is always looking bad, the way that you can get out, there's only one way to get out. You push, but even talking about pushing through it, the way that you push through it is be able to realize, yep, for sure, at where you're at, you cannot fix the problem, and you will be wrong no matter what choice you ever make at that level. You will be wrong. There is no answer. The answer is you are guilty. Okay, at least in your head and in your heart, you might think so, even if you aren't guilty. And the only way out of that corner, the only way out, is to go up and say, there isn't enough of me to be perfect to be able to do this right. There's no way for me to do
That's what I meant. Push in or push up to Father.
Exactly, push up through. But sometimes the specifics helps people to be able to drag it into their experience. So when you feel you're in that place, you're right. You are in a corner that you can't fix. You will always stay there as long as you see yourself as the problem or the situation as the problem. If you realize that a problem is the opportunity to build faith, because at that point you can have faith in, yep, I'm just going to be guilty, poor me. Or, someone else is guilty for the way it was, or, well, life just happened, and we all do it. We all play that game. Instead of go, okay, faith says that when we're in these situations, that God is so big. He owns time. He owns all resources. He owns our lives. He owns it all. So we can drag in and say, God, you're here. You fix it.
Right.
No one may be happy with how you fix it, but you will fix it perfectly.
That's right.
And we don't know how this woman is going to be blessed by obedience, and so we ask, what would you have us do, even if nobody likes it, including myself? That glorifies you, and that helps us to walk in obedience. And once you have your focus on what God wants you to do in obedience, and you can walk that in obedience, and He usually asks you to do things that are going to be uncomfortable or seem like the last thing you should do, that's probably what you should do. But when you do that, then you no longer have to feel guilty because you're walking in obedience. Therefore, Satan or yourself can't keep you in that corner of guilt.
That's right.
Because God doesn't want you to stay in guilt. He wants you to be able to plead the blood for yourself and for others, and to walk freely and know that He's the answer.
That's right, and I prayed against that as well. I bound up the spirit of guilt and oppression from the enemy.
You have authority over that.
That's right.
We have authority through Christ's blood. Use it.
That's right.
Use it. Apply it freely. Yeah. So
Rinse and wash
Yeah.
10 times daily.
So if you want to keep up, obviously with Tim and myself, come to escapeallthesethings.com. We have plenty of free articles and new vlog posts all the time, so you can come to that, or on the Narrow Path channel that you're on now on Tim McHyde's YouTube channel. And also Chris and Willie, they're starting a vlog for their travels as missions blog. It's a blog actually. That's showing their path and what Father's doing in their lives, as well as the things that they are experienced along the way. And it's going to be in English and German.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fun for those that need information, that want to learn German, for instance. They can go back and forth between the English and the German and work things out.
That's right.
And be a part of that, the exciting things that happen. So this is the beginning of them sharing. They're already on missions. They're doing missions with the people around them here, with the family, closure with the business, the Airbnb. It was already said that this Airbnb, that many people would come from many countries.
From many nations, and go out and bless the people, and bring the word of, bring God's word to the many people.
So the point is when you're even home, when you're not even traveling around, you have a mission to do to help whoever Father brings to you.
That's right.
So
and touch the lives of many.
I'm going to be putting up in the description, when they have it ready, the vlog website for Chris and Willie, the blog. I keep saying vlog because it's a video.
Because she does
Because I do vlogs, but they're doing a blog. They're writing things out and putting pretty pictures
Maybe
up.
we'll do a vlog at
all
some
those
point.
all those people that love pretty pictures. There's gonna be lots of pretty pictures.
If she says vlog one more time, then I'll know that the Lord wants us to do a vlog. So, it always comes in threes, right?
So I hope this has encouraged you. I'd love to hear back from you. We love your comments. I do read them. I don't always get to them very quickly to say something back, but we love you and we bless you in Yeshua's name, and we ask that you find your ways out of guilt. And also, when you fall down with frustrations and you have hard things come upon you, and you see the ugly part of those areas that are still needing healing, to recognize Father is there, and these areas are areas that need to be pushed on, and Father can show up to help you go through it different, and you'll get the healing that you're needing. So He's always there for you, never will leave you or forsake you.
That's right.
So we give you this post and hope it blesses so many of you.
And
All right.
thank you for sharing
Yeah.
and everything.
God bless.
God bless. Have a nice time.